Good evening, everyone. We started recording. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Damilola Roberts. I am the host and founder for Growth Camp. Growth Camp is a community of marketing professionals, and basically what we do is help upskill up-and-coming marketers to be able to meet up with industry standard. We've been doing this for 11 months. We started our first session in January, and we've been able to build up until this time. At some time in June, I think 1st of June, we had our first conference. It's called the North Star Conference. It was a super amazing conference. We should have held another one in Kenya this year, but we couldn't do that. But I am planning for one of the biggest marketing and product conference next year. It's going to be amazing in Nigeria, either Lagos or Abuja. Not sure yet, but we expect to have an amazing event next year. We're already looking forward to that. I think some of the things we'll be doing before the year end is wrap up of this year's activities. Also get review for some people that have been attending the session from the beginning of the year. You can let us know what we can improve, what we can do better. Definitely next year has like loads of plan. I think up until like 3 a.m. this morning, I was working on our next year plan, and I'm super excited about some of the things I am putting down, and I believe that we'll be able to execute on all of these things. One of them would be like a mentorship program. I've spoken to a couple of marketing lead, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa, who are open to mentoring young, upcoming marketers in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. So that's definitely one of the things we are going to be introducing next year. Beyond just Nigerian conference, definitely would host a conference outside of Nigeria next year. I'm really looking forward to that. So without further ado, I would like us to get straight into today's activity. Please, if you are not following us on our social media platform, please, please drop the link. Follow us on our social media platform. Also join us, our Telegram community. It's definitely an interesting one. Today, we are going to be talking about product marketing strategies for driving acquisition and retention. I think it's such an important topic if you ask me personally, because if you're building a product, there are two core things that are very important to you, right? One of them would be, how do I get people in? But getting people in is not the most important thing. Having to keep them is a lot more important than getting them. Well, when you speak to a lot of experienced growth marketers, they will tell you they will rather keep retention and acquisition, because acquisition can be hard, but when you get it, you also want to make sure you keep the set of people that you've gotten. And that is what our speaker is going to be talking to us about today. It's going to be an interesting one. Personally, I also hope to be able to learn from it. And I hope that as an individual, you are also able to learn from this and you can pick up one or two things that you can start to apply immediately. A lot of organizations right now are building strategies for next year. And it's really going to be focused around these two core metrics, right? So when you look at the funnel, from acquisition to engagement to retention to referral to revenue, these two key metrics actually hold all of the entire funnel. And having an idea on how it works, and how to be able to implement strategies to be able to, drive these two metrics are very important. And we have somebody who is qualified to be able to talk about this, somebody who is not just preaching it, but has done it, is going to be talking to us about this topic. And I hope you are open enough to be able to learn. And I hope that at the end of the day, you have a lot of questions, because how we gauge engagement and lesson is the quality of the questions you are able to ask. And first, also know that rule of thumb, there is no question that is too stupid to ask. If you don't understand it, please ask questions. That's why we are here. So I would like you to please put your hands together for our speaker, Bamgboye Wole. Super excited to have him on this call. He's already here, and he is going to be taking over the floor from me in the next moment. Thank you so much for joining us, Wole. The floor is yours. I'm not seeing those emojis, please. I want to see like a lot of hands, a lot of celebration. I mean, having to bring a big man like this to Growth Camp is a lot of fun.
Thank you. No big man, please. Thank you very much, Damilola and the team. I'm excited to be here. I think it's a good platform because I know a lot of marketers, a lot of product marketers, people in creative industry, copywriters, they tend to, uh, not, they're not always sure what to do at the beginning of their career. So, especially when they want to work in tech. So, I think this will help some, if not most, to gauge what exactly they want to do with their careers and how exactly to approach it. You would understand what I'm saying in a bit. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the topic is growth, driving growth in tech, and from a product marketing perspective, strategically for B2B and B2C. Now, if you don't know what B2B or B2C means, B2B means business to business, B2C means business to customers. So for anyone who is a greenhorn in the industry, as if you're working on, I'm guessing some of you here may work in agency, some, well, probably most of you work in a tech company here. For B2B are businesses that service other businesses, while B2C are businesses that create products for everybody, every customer or a target niche of customers. And it's very likely that at some points, if you stick to product marketing, your career will likely drift to one of those two ends. Yeah. So I'm just going to talk a bit on each one of those, understanding the unique challenges and strategies for B2B and B2C growth. Because of time, I won't go into details. I think there's a Q&A session, so just want to give you that if I'm fast, in quotes. All right, so understanding B2B and B2C, right? Like I said, businesses that offer services to other businesses are what we call B2B. And the strategies around marketing to other businesses, the expectations, the stress, the thought process, the approach is usually quite different from marketing to customers, like just general people, pretty much everyone here. So yeah, so for instance, if you were selling a software that solves marketing problems, say HubSpot, most of you are familiar with HubSpot or MailChimp, those are B2B softwares. You're not selling it necessarily to a person, you're selling it to a business. So the difference here, from a marketing perspective, is for B2B, it's largely relationship driven in terms of when it comes to conversions. It has longer sales cycle and you tend to focus on decision makers. Funny thing about it is over the past 5-10 years, a lot of it has shifted, right? So in the past, marketing served as like just the very top of the funnel where they just get leads and sales do the most of the work. They do most of the work, they do the conversion, they get the clients, while marketing serves as like a cherry on the cake or an icing, so to speak. Things have changed now. There's a lot more intent and purpose to getting a software in a company, and to use that software for businesses, because businesses are way more direct and intentional compared to several years ago where it's just based on, so even though yes, it's still very relationship driven, compared to say 5-10 years ago, 20 years ago, marketing plays a huge role when it comes to B2B. Same is happening for B2C. B2C is purely marketing. You're not going to try to attract, say, 2,000 followers by going to reach out to people. That's not going to work. So it's largely B2B. So it's high volume, depending on whatever type of company it is. The business model, you're looking to reach out to anything between 3,000 people within a short period of time to millions of people. You're trying to get them and convert them within a short period of time. And it focuses on quick conversions. You want to get them, talk to them, let them know, and they convert immediately. They're using the software, they're using the product as fast as possible. If you're smart about it, a smart way to go about it is to go emotions. Now, just for basics, even though some of you already know, pro tip, whether you're doing B2B or B2C, you're talking to human beings at the end of the day. Yeah, they have two different sales cycles. While you can talk to someone, market to someone in B2C, and the person converts immediately. B2B could take anything between 3 months to 6 months. In fact, for B2B, you could start doing work today and it take you 3 months before you see any useful results. Yeah, that's how it is. It could take 6 months for large clients, it could take up to 2 years even. So it requires, they're quite different, right? So let's dive into it a bit. I'm not going to go into too much detail. You ask me questions during the Q&A session. So acquisition strategies for B2B, I'll start with B2B. It's SEO driven. Like I said, companies are way more intentional. Many of you are probably in companies already, and there's very likely you search for certain tools, either for email marketing, stuff like that. So it's SEO is a huge part of B2B. You'd see here, I put here inbound organic versus outbound and outbound. Those are two sub-strategies when looking at B2B. Inbound is creating content to attract your target audience, while outbound is doing stuff like Google ads and Facebook ads or whatever, depending on whatever strategy it is, right? These days, especially for B2B, inbound and organic tends to be very popular, increasingly popular. Reason being, you spend less money, you attract way fewer people, but those few people are usually within your target audience. And it's very likely that at least 50%, 30 to 50% of them will convert within the next 2 to 6 months. You may not get so many leads, but you usually convert fast. So SEO is really, really important. Search engine optimization, that's an entire topic and discussion and strategy in and of itself. There's thought leadership through webinars, white papers, case studies. There's a lot of sales and marketing alignment because you need, as you're driving leads, you're driving people to and driving awareness, you have to be in sync with the sales team to close those deals as fast as possible. Else you just be pouring water into a basket, as they say. There's also account-based marketing. So depending on the business model or the company, you could just look at one big client or one big potential client and focus a lot of energy on them. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 10, it could be 20, depending on what the goal is. You could also do targeted ads. Now, this one is a bit tricky. Like I said, this is more outbound for B2B. You'd have to be very precise on the platform. For B2B, people tend to focus on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn will suck your money dry. So it's the kind of platform where you either go big or don't even bother. Yeah, you don't bother. If you're not putting some good money into it, don't stress yourself. Do organic, right? But you get a lot of good leads from there because you are pretty sure who you're targeting. So the problem in marketing generally, and I think this will evolve and improve as technology evolves and improves, especially with AI taking all our data. These platforms will understand who we are and our businesses much clearer. So digital ads will tend to be more expensive, but convert better when they know who exactly you're targeting. But there are several strategies, even with today's not so efficient targeting models, where you can target specific people in specific places based on specific job roles and interests that you think are going to be good. For instance, if you're doing a campaign to target all of you here, there are certain ways to go about it, right? The big one is events. Yeah, even though it's cliche, it works magic. Events tend to work really good. Other things like optimized landing pages. This is connected to SEO. It's also, a thing you can look at. Now, this isn't comprehensive, but these are good strategies to look at depending on business. Now, for B2C, if you're, let's say you're trying to market an app, for someone should give me an example in the comment section. Example of an app you're working on. Maybe you can use that as case study. Damila, please, if anybody drops something, let me know. So you could do targeted ads. Targeted ads, those work well for B2C. They tend to generate a lot of awareness. You get a lot of downloads if you're doing an app or a software. Accounting app, that's B2B.
Accounting app, yeah.
Donald, thank you. That's B2B. Okay, so I'll get back to you later on. Influencers and social proof, those tend to work magic, even though the problem is people like Sabinos and the rest, they will eat your money dry. And you need to be very careful as to how you're approaching the deal or relationship. Yeah, they'll, some of them, they move mad sometimes. Excuse my French. But you need to be very careful with how, the deal, very specific, but they work magic. They really, really work well. User generated centric onboarding, seamless onboarding, make sure, because again, like I mentioned, you're really selling to humans, whether it's B2B or B2C. So their experience compared to say several years ago is very important. Their experience from when they get to the app store to when they download it, experience the app, go through it, everything really important. Referral programs, those are great. Another thing you notice is there are many things here in the B2C section that's actually also applicable in the B2B section. Stuff in the B2B section also applicable in this B2C section. So it really depends on strategy and tactics and where you think your audience are or what gets them taken. There's gamification, and this can be done in several ways with the app, if it's an app, if it's whatever it is. There are several ways to go about it. Just this mostly does engagement. It engages the users because, quite frankly, there is nothing you are selling today, no matter how much you deceive yourself, or there's a way we marketers tend to tell ourselves that whatever it is we're doing is the best, or is the best in the market, or second best is a lie. There's at least 10 others that are doing the exact same thing. What makes you different is stuff like gamification, your brand. But in terms of the service, probably the same thing. So gamification helps with stuff like that. Email marketing and building. I don't think I need to talk about this. Creating emails, and this particularly, what I'll talk about here is your flow. I think a lot of email marketers tend to miss this. Before you even start your nurturing process, you have to think through the acquisition flow from all your channels, how they will experience you, to dropping their emails, to the very first email they get, and get it down to whenever it is you want to convert them. That's very important. User-generated content, that's any social media person here will understand. That's just people creating content for you based on whatever you do. Then mobile first. If you're doing B2C, about at least 95% of your audience are going to be using phones to interact with you. Very likely. Not likely a laptop. So it's very important that it is user mobile friendly. Now, retention strategies. I hope I'm doing good on time. Yeah. Retention strategies for B2B. Cool. Proper customer success. I know this is not marketing, but from a marketing point of view, trust me, you want to know what needs to be done to retain users. Here's why. It's very likely you'll be giving KPIs, depending on your kind of company, you'll be giving KPIs. If depending on your kind of company, it may give you conversion KPIs as well. So you see something like marketing leads, sales qualified leads, and conversion from those leads. If it's not converting well, they'll say your leads are not good. If they say your leads are not good, they'll say the work you're doing is rubbish. Yeah, so it cascades. I always try to advise, make sure you understand the entire flow, from awareness to retention to acquisition to retention. Right. You would also likely work with customer success with things like knowledge base, creating a knowledge base that's beyond just blog posts, places like FAQ, things that they tend to ask questions about, things that will help them to answer questions without necessarily getting to customer success. The brand storytelling around it, those tend to help. Another thing that helps is personalized offer. So like Damilola rightly said, trust me, it's better to retain customers you have. It costs way less. It is easier. It is more profitable to retain customers you have compared to chasing new people up and down. Trust me, it tends to work out. So treat them like they're your babe, or if you're a lady, they're your guy, they're your man. Trust me, treat them well as possible, give them special offers, make them feel, in quotes, loved. Value-driven engagements, checking updates, exclusive offers, then upsell and cross-sell. Again, this is depending on how the product offerings you have. If you have two offerings or two solutions, you can cross-sell. Sorry, I'm hearing some background noise. You can cross-sell one against the other. Yeah, you can cross-sell from one customer to the other customer. Someone said accounting, the accounting tool. Maybe I can use that as an example. Sorry, Oluwa, I'm hearing some background noise here, please. Yeah, so for instance, let me give an example. So if it's an accounting app, for instance, accounting software, it's very likely your target audience are accountants. But beyond that, the target audience are general finance people. If your target audience a lot of the time is not necessarily the accountants, they're not they may know about it, they can influence the decision, but they're not the ones that make the decision. It's the OGA, the CEO, the person those are the people that make the decisions. Now, sometimes the finance manager could make that decision, but it's more likely you need to be talking to the CEO as well. And by talking to, I mean creating content that the CEO will find and send to the accounting team, right? So for stuff like that, they need to make sure first and foremost, for things like an accounting software, the software itself must be good. I'll say this again, the software itself must be good. I think this even cuts across. The software itself must be good. That is the very first level. As a product marketer, you are going to be getting a lot of feedback from the users. It's important you also work with the product manager or head of engineering, whatever their name is in any company, to improve the product. Else you're wasting energy. Yeah, for B2B, you can still use a bit of internal once you've toasted the head of the orga and it will stay. But especially for B2C, it has to work. It has to be good. Marketing can do a lot, but it can only do so much. So for B2C, loyalty programs, even this works in B2B as well, but loyalty programs work, getting people to refer other people. It's like a hack, really. It's a growth hack. So that way, a good way to do this is calculate your customer lifetime value. How much profits do you get from each customer? We'll get to that later. And how much it costs you to acquire a customer. You can use whatever the amount is, put a certain percentage, and use that as your reward. How much you give out as a reward. So it could be 1,000 naira. If it's a finance app, I reward someone, and you and the person both get to 1,000 naira each or 2,000 naira each. It was something as little as that. Those things work. Personalized communication and community building. Community works both ways, actually, for B2C and B2B. Does anyone have any questions thus far? Just drop it in the comment section. We'll answer that later on. So measures. I'm trying to be as fast as possible. Certain key things. Now, this is what to, in quotes, separates you from a beginner. Understanding some of these success metrics. So you're not just doing work for the sake of work. You're not just doing work for the sake of, okay, I've done my job, I'm going to my house. Actual things that matter. There's something we call vanity metrics, right? And I'll just explain this since I think there may be some greenhorns here. Those are things that look good, but they don't mean anything. They don't mean anything at all. They don't mean anything. Stuff like impressions. It's good to have. Okay, what is an impression? Impression is your post showed up on someone's page. Whether the person saw it or not, it doesn't matter. Even sometimes, depending on what you're doing, clicks could be a vanity metric. What actually matters? Is it sign up? Is it certain people that cross a certain section of the onboarding process? Is it certain people that download the app, or is it certain people, number of people that actually take an action on the app? That is up to you and your entire team to decide. But those are metrics you need to understand. Now, what will make it work out is understanding some of these metrics. So stuff like customer lifetime value. Customer lifetime value is how much profits do you get from a customer in the entire lifetime. So even if they download the app today, on average, how long do they stay? How long before they delete the app or move on to something else? And this or software, you calculate that the results is revenue you expect on average per customer to generate. And the way you calculate that is customer value times average customer lifespan. So you look at how much every customer has given you, or you profited from, times a lifespan, year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case may be. Net promoter score is pretty simple. It's just big language for how do you rate us? What is your rating? Do you rate us from, okay, sorry, there's a mistake here. Between 1 to 10, not 100 to, it's 1 to 10. There's a calculation to it. You can do some research or you can reach out to me later on. Then sales cycle length. For some products, it could be 3 weeks, could be 6 months, could be 1 year. If you're working in, say, IT, it could be up to a year because there's a lot of politics that also gets involved. Accounting softwares, usually 3 months to 6 months. Yeah, give or take, depending on what it is. Those things tend to play, and you have limited control on certain sales cycles because it's down to sales team, but there's usually an average as to how long it tends to take for them to close. A HR software, for instance, could be 2 weeks, so it depends. Then customer churn rates. How many customers are you losing per time? Customers that have used the product and then decided to drop. This customer churn rate is one of the most important things you need to be tracking. Why are they churning? So immediately they leave. Churn just means they stop using the business. They just stop using the products. It's important to know why. Is it that they found something else? Is it that maybe they just decided to move on to something else? Is it that they don't like your logo or your color? But more importantly, is it that the product was giving them more problems than they bargained for, right? Because they most likely got you for a reason to solve a problem. So are you actually solving that problem? For B2B, B2C is quite similar. Also look at churn rates, retention rates, also net promoter score and lifetime value. So it's pretty similar, but by the time you measure all the metrics for a B2B company, you also measure that for a B2C companies, the numbers will be wildly different. Yeah, so I try to make this as short as possible. I think I've done well on time. That's approximately 20 minutes. Any question, please? This is a very, very detailed type. This is very surface level, very extremely surface level. There's a lot of detail that needs to go into every single thing I've mentioned. And that is not something I can say I'll do. It will require another session another day, probably next month or something. So any question, please? Damilola?
Yeah, thank you so much, Wole. This is quite insightful. I mean, before the other guys ask their question, I really love the presentation, and I have a question, and my question would be, before a user moves from being activated to you being retaining them, there is a gap, which is the engagement end, right? Activation. That's what it's called in the funnel. How do you move? So retention can be defined based on the product, or retention can be defined depending on the company. So for example, at BitNob, we would say you have churned if you haven't done transaction in 60 days. Okay. Right. When we started, it was 90 days. Now we moved to 60 days. I'm sure by next year we can define it to be 30 days, right? Because we believe the product we have should allow you to be able to do transaction at least once a month. Yeah. Right. From the suite of the services in which you offer. So my question would be, at what point, how do you determine what the definition of your retention would be, and also how do you define your churn?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so for churn rates, like you mentioned, you need to look at your product and be honest about it. You need to be as honest as possible. That is another thing. I think a lot of people deceive themselves quite a bit. You need to be as honest as possible. The product you've built, ideally, how long should it take for someone to stop using you? Let me give an example. HR software, right? HR software is something that ideally should be used on a monthly basis, especially if it's payroll. If they are not using it every month, there's a problem. If you have other features around it that are built in to create stickiness, that means there's a problem, right? So a HR software, for instance, if after 1 month you could say, okay, maybe there was a problem and they didn't use it in the first month. By the second month, if they don't use it, then that definitely this person is already training. Then you need to look at it and find out what the problem is. For an accounting software, depending on what the accounting software solves, right? You need to look at, okay, this accounting software, how regularly is it used? All my users, how regularly do they use them? My most active users, how regularly do they use them? Then take out all the data you can get from that and analyzing how your active users use the software and use that to decide. It's not something that it has to be decided on a case-by-case basis, really. In fact, some companies, I know 2 HR software companies, one, their churn rate is 3 months. The other one is 2 months. So it really depends on what you decide, what you've seen based on your user experience and based on general usage, monthly usage, to determine the what you'd call your churn rate. To answer the second question, as far as retention, is at that point, once you determine churn rates, start to track it immediately, start reaching out to those customers. I would actually advise you start reaching out to customers even before they start thinking about churning, but that's just me. But immediately they start churning, reach out. Why? If people are churning from your software, it's both a bad and a good thing. It gives you the opportunity to learn and to understand what the problem is. If they have the time or they give you the grace of giving you feedback, it's fantastic because that way you know what other people are using. I tend to say something. If one person complains about something, in B2B, for instance, one person complains about something, one company complains about something, it's very likely 10 others have experienced the same thing, but they just didn't talk. Yeah. Within a month or two, you'll see the results if it's not fixed as soon as possible. So yeah, that's how best to look at it. There is no, as far as I can advise, no universal way to look at and to identify it, even though some will argue that there is. I don't believe there is, because every product is unique. Every product solves specific problems. But more importantly, it's very likely that every product has other products around it that create stickiness that aren't the same. So that's how I approach it.
Awesome. All right, thank you. So my follow-up question would be, how do you activate churn users?
Yeah, so to activate churn users, you likely have to work with customer success. That's if you have a customer success, if you're lucky to have one. Because some of us work in startups that as marketer, you're doing like 200 jobs. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about, but as well. It's very likely that if you're doing B2B, you have the person's phone number, the person's email. Start from there. Start with an email, just a short email. Ask them certain questions. Try to get them on a demo. That doesn't work, make a call. It's not rocket science, quite frankly. It's really not rocket science. Get them on a call. I'd advise something, right? If you could also create value around marketing regarding your clients. So if you're working for a fintech, for instance, create value on a weekly basis. Give out or publish very, very insightful content that will be very interesting to the users. So the average users, you identify the user, you identify your persona, the average kind of person that will tend to use the software. Create content that is very, very useful to them. So even if they churn from software, they won't forget your brand because they would expect something valuable from you every month. So creating content is so powerful and is almost taking over the job of sales these days because it not only attracts people, but it retains people as well. So even if they're vexed and maybe something is wrong or they're upset or whatever the case may be, they'll keep getting your brand. And that top of mind awareness is very important. Really, really important. Beyond ads, is very important. That's one. So send them emails. Ideally, if you can, create a system where automatically your an emailing system where a user doesn't use the software for, say, whatever your churn rate is, let's say it's 2 months, an email trigger is sent instantly. Instantly. If you can, make sure you're tracking it on a monthly basis. A simple phone call. Why? Why did you leave? How can we get you back? Little things. There's usually no. Is the only thing that is difficult, or we say is rocket science, is creating content on a regular basis. But it's little things like phone call, sending an email, very little things. Those they tend to keep get people back. And the good thing is, whether or not the person comes back, either way you win. So the person comes back, fine, fantastic. It doesn't, you get feedback as to why, how to keep the others. Do you understand? And if there's no reason at all, then you can still focus on those that you have, the fish in your basket. Naturally, you can't keep, if you go fishing, you can't keep all the fish. And you get some who swiggle away and fly. That always happens. Except you built the best software in the world, and I don't think anybody has, even Google, even the very biggest of softwares. So yeah. There was someone that said accounting software. Who is that? Donald. An accounting app. Can you tell us more about the app? You don't need to say the name, don't worry. You have confidentiality freedom here. Is Donald still on the call?
If you're on the call, I doubt it.
Okay, Donald is on the call. Basically a bookkeeping app. Is it for SMEs? So, okay, yeah, pro tip. Like I said, create a persona. Understand who will use your products and be as honest about it as possible. Also, this is going to be hard, right? But be honest with your Oga as well. You see the person that created it. Let me not get into this. A lot of softwares are created because some people's friends needed the software. I'm sure some of you understand what I mean. Their friend needed it. Their friend's friend also needed it. So they created a software that they felt everybody would need, right? So you have to be as honest as possible. Your target market is not everybody. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, for SMEs, I figured. Yeah, so an accounting app, for instance, is very likely you'd have to get into events, accounting or finance specific events. Trick, partnerships with finance or accounting bodies. You can do a lot of work. This cuts across both marketing and sales. You can do a lot of work for several months and get this hand results here, 5. And you can do just one thing and you get 10. It's crazy, but that's life for you. You can get into bodies if you can get into a certain body, certain organization. I remember I did one campaign for a HR software, and after months of creating content, the content already started generating leads, even if it didn't do anything. I didn't have to stress myself with converting. So what I now did was we got into something called HREA, created a partnership with the HREA, then CIPM. We got more from them in 2 months than we had in the previous 6 months, just from creating those partnerships. So same thing applies to, say, a bookkeeping software. But for SMEs, also you define the SMEs. Is a very small business, small and medium business. So for the small businesses, look for, also you can try events for small businesses, you can try seminars, and you can try, I think it would be a good idea to create thought leadership about it, explain how that software solves your problem. Another great thing, social proof. Make sure that everywhere your software is, or at least the places that matter, that something good is being said about the software by actual human beings. You can If you already have users, try and get your user on a video, very nicely done video, talking about the software, what exactly the software did. It does wonders. Yeah. Also on stuff like Capterra, or depending on how big your software is, there's another, I can't remember the name of the software. Those places where they rate apps or softwares as to whether they are scam or not. Those are great. So for small businesses, ads also work well, fairly well for small businesses. You likely just have a conversion rate of, say, maybe if you do the ad very well, 20%, but that's still good because you get quite a number of them. Try and look at who your target, your SMEs. So for instance, even though you say SMEs, in what industries? What industries are they in? That will also help to know where to get them, where to target them. Even when you're doing the ads, to help you to know where to target them. It's help you to know where to find them. It's help you to know, even if it's a blog section, maybe there's a blog section that they tend to read from a popular influencer or popular writer. That's an option. So there are different ways to go about it, right? For a bookkeeping app, but always try to focus, depending on your approach, and focus on that problem, explaining and getting them to understand the problem they are, feel the problem they have, understand the problem, understand where that problem is coming from, that a bookkeeping software will solve, and then create content around it. Create content around them too. They should see you as a place where they come to you and they will instantly get value that will help them with their business as far as finance or accounting or bookkeeping is concerned. That's one way to go about it. Anyone else apart from Donald? Or Donald, do you still have more questions?
Any further questions before we round up? Okay, Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, please. If you're talking,
please unmute and speak.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Hi, Patrick.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Great session from you. Really insightful. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to ask a very straightforward question. The B2B marketing landscape is changing, right? It's moving fastly from you could run paid ads and target particular people, decision makers, like on LinkedIn and all that, influencer marketing and all that. It's changing, moving from that to founder-led and CEO-led,
Yeah.
So my question is, for a company where you know that this is where it is heading towards, right? People, you can automate emails, but you can't automate trust. Now, people want to hear from your founder. People want to hear the story directly from your founder to connect with your founder so that they can. Now, your founder is running away from that.
I think I already knew where you were going to.
The founder is shying away from. How do I convince my founder? See, for we to improve sales, for we to get these results that we're talking about, you need to spearhead. You need to come to the camera and talk. Don't run away from it. How do I? So that it doesn't look like I'm running away from my own responsibility, what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. What kind of software is it?
No, it's not a software. It's a service company. It's a HR service company.
HR services.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's why they want to see the founder. How do you convince? That's going to be a difficult question to answer because I don't know your founder. But one way I know is very effective for marketers to get people to do things is to show potential return on investment. It may be difficult for you, but if you can map out that this is the current results we're getting, if you show your face on this, this is the kind of results we'll be getting. Back that data up. That will help, at least as far as the argument is concerned. I'm guessing your founder is camera shy, which tends to happen a lot. But yeah, I understand. Just know that it's going to be that part is already limited. You're not going to change the founder. That person is not likely to change. It's not likely to do the first episode and all of a sudden he wants to do every episode. That's going to change. So I want to advise you to create a founder-led strategy. No, there are other ways to go about it. Even though that is a good, the co-founder can balance it, I guess. Yes. So I'm still getting to that. Even though the founder-led strategy is quite good, it has gained popularity over the past few years. I think the most popular version of it is Elon Musk, and the wahala that is causing on a global scale. But I think it's you can't change. For instance, I'm pretty sure your problem is that you can't get your founder to talk. I'm sure the marketing manager at, say, Tesla is hoping that Elon doesn't say something stupid. So two of you have very different problems. Just begging him, please, Oga Elon, I beg, just stick to scripts. I take God beg you. Two of you have very different problems. You're not going to change the founder. A founder-led strategy will most likely come from the founder. So while you can, yes, use ROI to try and add that to your arguments, this is the expected ROI we'll get from this. Naturally, because of how algorithms work, even if it's not your founder, a face on Instagram always does approximately 50 times, 30 to 50 times better than a design post. Human face, right? In fact, I remember one time I just added it to strategy. Monday morning, I'll be Tuesday morning, come to the office, take someone's picture, just shine it like this. It will do, sometimes it could do up to ×3, ×4, ×5 better than you spend 2 hours doing a design, iterating a design. This thing is not good, so not good. Copy is this, copy is that. Just do that one. Put a copy there in caption. As far as regard, just to humanize the brand. So yeah, while you can do your best to, as much as possible, humanize the brand strategically, I wouldn't say you should bank on trying to change your founder. If you get some content out of him, fine, all well and good. I wouldn't advise that you put your focus there. You're not going to change him. If you do get him to do a video, you will hate yourself. Trust me. People that are camera shy, a shoot that should probably take 30 minutes will end up taking 4 hours. So, great Doris. I'm not sure who this person is. Let me see the name very well. Someone is raising up their hands. Please go ahead.
Yeah, always done.
Wisdom, yes.
Thank you so much for the class. It's been great too. So I'm just drawing a question from something you said earlier, and it is relating to B2B. So you actually spoke about how LinkedIn might not be the best platform to go for, like without like having like so much of a large budget. My question to that is, what are some options you would recommend for supplementation to that effect? Thank you.
Okay. Are you under pressure? Like right now, is your guy putting you under pressure to give results? If it is, I would say you should do organic. Give it time, do organic. For ads, you can try. So, okay, let me give you a pro tip. If for anyone who is a performance marketer here or knows about ads, not just boosting posts, that is just awareness, trust me. Boosting posts will just give you awareness. It may give you conversion if the design is good, but it's largely for awareness. But if you know how to do ads, you could make sure you set up your Pixel and your Google Tag Manager. Make sure you set up your targeting. I'm guessing you are B2B Wisdom. Is that correct? Okay, I didn't really hear you, but I assume you said yes. So if you're doing that, just try and use retargeting quite a bit. So, pro tip, you could do some, either it's Facebook ads, but you need to do some crazy detailed persona. Very detailed persona about the average kind of person you're targeting. Very detailed persona, the kind of things they're interested in. And you have to be very honest with yourself and make sure you're not targeting anything beyond that. It's very tempting to start putting everything you see there. Don't. Trust me, you waste a lot of money. Then do that. Then make sure you're running a retargeting ad that is targeting anyone that shows interest. and is targeting them as much as possible. If you can, just split your budget into say 40, 50, 40, 60, 40% for awareness, 60% for retargeting. So just retargeting the few people that show a lot of interest. Another way is to cascade the retargeting process. So you can either track them from when they land on the landing page, or track them from after they fill out a form, or they, maybe they fill out a thank you form. Because you can start from there, fill out a form and it says thank you, start from there. That specific one, target them. It will help you to save a lot of money and not waste money unnecessarily. But again, that has to do with your entire funnel. Like, is your funnel quite good? Did you optimize your funnel? Are you just doing ads and hoping that don't just hope that, okay, if they see it, they'll come to my website and hopefully they'll go to the sign up page. Hopefully. Create a landing page, create a sub page, track them. I'd advise track them on that second phase, because a lot of people just click. Trust me, if you do Facebook ads, number of malams that will click on your ads will piss you off. They'll click on it for no good reason. What they're looking for, only God knows. So it's really better after you've gotten to a certain page and try and retarget them as much as possible. But LinkedIn is fantastic if you have the money. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very helpful. Yeah.
All right,
You're
thank
welcome.
you so much. I think that will be the last question we'll be taking because we're just 5 minutes in. Thank you so much, Wole. Please, you can show Wole some love using the emoji. I think we had a very fantastic session. It was a good one. Thank you so much. We had such a good time. So the next or the last growth camp session is going to happen next month. I'm super excited about that one. It's going to be like the final for the year. We've been doing this for 12 months now. I mean, it's going to be 12 months next month. So super excited about that. And of course, it's going to be the last one. I mean, you guys are specially invited. We would also be rolling out our plan, like I said earlier, for next year. We started working on some things, and we'll definitely share with the entire community. And like I said, next year we are starting the mentorship program. So young, upcoming marketers will be paired with professionals who would help them and just give them a sense of direction in whatever it is they are trying to do. So we're really looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Wole. We had a great time with you, and I hope that when we invite you for another one, or maybe for the conference, you would do us a good one by attending. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Weekend starts tomorrow. Have fun and have a good night. Bye.